That should put me live. Apologies. Don't know if anyone's behind that. Hello all. I'm Merlin, Temtic, Dota. Yeah, I finally found the page. It tells me which is the actual, yeah. So the 29th of May 2019 I became affiliate. So that's pretty cool. That's crazy. Young. Yeah. Um, um, cool. Yeah. Today. So we're getting things done. I did a loading spinner in finally yesterday. That was a thing that I did last night. It was driving me crazy. I put a loading spinner in, so now if a screen does take particularly long to load, it will do that. Duca, thank you very much. Welcome in. I also introduced the title here. I don't know whether this is going to live like this. I think that this takes up a lot of vertical space, which takes away the focus from this, but I wanted to put that in there to be more uh, um, standard in the pages, and reintroduce the add task button into this page so you can add a task. If you need to just add a task that's a development task that's not tracked by planning, then you can do that. So obviously the screen is getting a little bit heavy, but that's because I've got a lot of test data in there. We're going to see what that usage looks like. We can still filter now. Okay. I went through and put the same title thing on the sprint boards and moved the sprint button over here so it's more in line with the rest of the pages. Just trying to get that a little bit more consistent. So a few minor improvements. I've done something that I don't normally advise with this. I've added new permissions alongside doing this so I can validate them on the client side and make sure that you can hide these. So the way the permissions works is if I add a permission in here, when the pieces start up that need permissions, they go and use this and check to see if they've got that permission registered, and if they don't, they store it. So I created a service that every component can include that on startup will action for that service. Hey, you've got some new permissions to deal with. That way it's consistent and it trickles through the system at the right speed. By doing that, it automatically appears. Well, it doesn't automatically. It appears in this screen. So once I add a new permission, I can then go and do that. So basically, if I stop running and I dread to think what would happen if I turn the stream into emote only. I'm not big. I don't even use my own emotes a lot, and I really should if I'm going into streams and I'm, I prefer Canny's emotes over mine, which is funny considering Canny gave me that one as well, which is appropriate for me, right? Uh, um, so if we do start sprint as a permission, we do GUID.parse and GUID, which fills the GUID in there. Planning sprint string sprint start. Actually, this isn't planning. I need to redo these. Yeah, this explains everything. It does. So now, by virtue of doing that, If I run now, we give that a second to start up. Well, let's get awkward quick. Um, let's not go into that. So now if I refresh the page, the app will rebuild. So yeah, I finally got a loading spinner in there of sorts. This is that's a Prime NG loading spinner. But now if I go in here, I can now check start sprints, right? So adding the permission set to the application, that does require, it doesn't yet, but what it should do is if trigger an event that forces the permissions to reload in the considering the content of my stream, it's definitely one way of getting around some of the rules, right? I suppose it's open to everyone's imaginations. So yeah, the user's token is stored temporarily in here for 5 minutes. So if I go and change the permission, that doesn't automatically refresh. So, but that would require an event to do. It doesn't change anything that this would care about. So yeah, it does need to have an event that picks it up and invalidates the Redis cache. But now with that there, I can go over to the boards and I can do buttons, start sprint, and I can go on here and I can now do star requires equals planning sprint start. Interesting that it knows that. Oh, can't have multiple template bindings. That's interesting. Okay. Hmm. Combine. How to apply multiple template bindings. Sorry for the flash. Can't use template binding on one element Angular. Oh, so just wrap it in there. Okay. Well, the problem is, which one's the if? ng container, I think the requires is that. So you actually have to have that before we can show it anyway. So it probably makes sense to put the if inside. Right. But now with that, if I go to here and select a sprint that hasn't started, I can select that. But if I go back to planning, need to put the settings button at the bottom of all the pages. If I remove that ability, then go back here to Redis, trash that one, refresh. Now if I go back to task sprints and select, I won't get the start sprint button, right? Because now I can't start a sprint. I can complete one, but I can't start one. So yeah, trying to expand out the usage of the permission system. It's not really an ideal way of doing it, but I figured that it's probably worthwhile doing some of these things because it does help organize the system a bit. Um, I've done that as include add task in UI. It's a minor thing, but I've done a lot of things in it, which is again normally what I would not advise. On that point, though, I do need to go in here, sprint, post, patch. That's an interesting one because we do multiple changes with that. Permissions. Okay. User permissions dot start sprint. Right. We can patch it with a start sprint. When we create it, we can do permissions all user permissions dot create sprint. Right. So that's it. That's all the permissions piece requires from this side. I might get back to profiles, but or policies rather, which is a combination of permissions, but I don't think so. But this does give us a new interesting challenge later on. What if you're completing the sprint, right? I don't have complete sprint in there yet, but what happens if you are? So that's a thing to worry about later, though. So I did introduce that, and also on tasks, post again, permissions, user permissions, dot create task. Right, so you can add that. But now we've got an ever growing system of permissions going through the application, which is good. Okay, so let's commit these. Introduce new permissions. Add create task permission. To hide button. Update endpoint to respect. Create sprint button. Create sprint and start sprint. Permissions. Endpoints. Okay. So, morning, Sully. How's it going? Update sprint page, awards page with doing good. It's Thursday. Made some really positive changes on the app yesterday. On this last night. Got the things tidied up for the teams that we finished yesterday. So I'll show that in a second. Update boards page with updated title. Update boards with updated title. And shift create sprint behind a permission. And put button to right as standard. Do that. So yesterday, what I finished up was when we go to planning users. So when you go to teams now, you can now edit a team. We'll wait for that to load. Loading spinner, nice. Hey, Arish, how you doing? You stopped talking to me yesterday after that, so I hope I hope that's fine. Stony, hello, how's things? So yeah, I got the teams editing in, so you can now add a team. Actually, that button's not correct, is it? push that. Let's make that. Well, we're going about trying to make things standard, which does feed into what I wanted to tackle today. Which, if you bear with me a second, I will get to. So, apart from some horrendous layout here, so we have the header. Yeah, that's not behind a permission, I don't think. Let's just go check that. User permissions. Yeah, we don't have. Yeah, Teams is not behind that. I am gonna have to figure out a way of clearing out permissions as well. Yeah, that's not the same button, so that's just a disconnect with how that button is. So we go to planning items, planning, tasks, boards, Teams component. So that's hi Phil Samuel, how are you? How are things going? Okay, so we're going to do that. We're not going to have the requires because we don't have the requires yet. We're going to have add team, size. We're not going to put a size on there. It's going to be standardized. And outlined equals true. I believe that's actually the better way of doing that one. Yeah, let's do that. It's holiday Norway, which is good. I'm writing glow traces, which is also good. Nice. Outline. Wow. Okay, I really did a number on that one, didn't I? Yeah. Yeah. Add team. I'm not sure why that doesn't line up properly, but anyway, making that more standard. So, let's just 1 second. Flex gap 3. Okay, that's the actual problem. I'm worrying about things that I really don't need to be worrying about here as well. So that's a bit unnecessary. Organize teams button. Yeah. So today's stream, my focus. So with this done, with the ability to associate teams with projects, what that gives me is the ability to now do the next phase, which is the task planning phase, as we've referred to it over here, right? So project team associations, requirements, kind of did all that, so that's done. It's no longer in planning, that's for certain. Is completed. So with that done, the next phase is to do the task planning phase. So the idea is that when you go to a ready for planning status, that it appears in the other screen, in the task side of the house, so that the teams that need to review it can review it and add any comments or whatever. The goal there is to make it lay it out so it's useful for a developer looking at it rather than a product manager. So the things you're focused on are, what do I need to know, right? What comments are there? What are the requirements? For a requirement, can I add a task, etc. Before I could do that, I had to introduce the concept of linking teams with projects, because we don't, the entire idea of this is to try and disconnect what planning expect from what teams need to do to deliver, because they don't always align. They don't. You might need work split across multiple teams, but you achieve one one goal, right? So yeah, so that's that. But I didn't fancy, so I want to get this release out this weekend, so that this latest version, all these changes are done, and then they're able to be tested. But to do that, I realized I've been asking people if they want to test it, you can go to Liquid Sky Software, you can give this a test. Just log into Discord, and please, if you have feedback, let me know. Right? That's the only ask I have. If you think you can use this to plan something, if you think you just want to tinker around and have a go and see how it feels and see what you like and don't like, please do. But please provide some feedback. But a lot of these ideas, because I'm not a UI UX expert, a lot of these ideas are in my head. To me, it makes sense. I've been working on it for a year. You as a viewer might have been in here, a couple of hours here or there. You might have just been hanging out. You might not have been listening, but you're like, oh, I want to try this. It's not going to make sense. So I need to make sure that I'm trying to do my best to make that flow smooth. So what I want to do today is a bit of research, and I'm open to any ideas on onboarding techniques. So, the whole tutorial, the guided tutorial idea. Maybe I can do that. So you should ask AAOA when he's live for feedback on your UI UX. I've considered it, but I think I'd have to chat and see. I don't like the idea of going into a community. I do hang out in the stream sometimes, but I don't spend a lot of time in there. I'm not comfortable going in and immediately going, hey, could you help me? And could you look at this thing that I'm working on? Because he's doing his own thing. So, or they're doing their own thing. So yeah, there's a few streamers that I've been tempted to ask for some assistance with, but again, I'm also looking at the concept of turning this into a commercial product, and I don't want to take someone's time when I can't pay them to then turn around and use what they give me to make a product that I then go make money on. So I'd have to be very clear about that. So I have some reservations on just going asking people for help. But yeah, I've hung out in the stream a bit, but yeah. By the way, been trying out vibe coding things at work. How else can we be productive? I stopped doing it for my SQL after a while. The issue was that it generated a lot of code for me because I was just prompting. I didn't form a mental model of what the solution was, which I didn't like. So now I'm writing the code by myself, but I use the AI to review the code and comment it. Yeah. I get it. Yep. Yeah. The language in the message, that's all. I get it though. Yeah, what I'm looking to do is I'm really hoping to engage with someone that can help me going forward and not just randomly throw them stuff. Um, um, yeah. So I'm curious as to what that looks like, I was hoping to find someone late last year, but unfortunately that fell through. And I have tried Fiverr, right? Obviously, I don't have a big budget, so I'm not going for the people that want thousands to do ongoing engagements, etc. I can't afford to fund Liquid Sky like that. So I went on Fiverr and I asked someone, I gave him some information and said, hey, what do you think? And it replied back with, and I say it because it replied back with, oh, it looks like you're trying to make a planning and a management application. Like, really, it's just feeding it into an AI and repeating it back to me. It read like AI. Oh no. AA streams just to help people get better, so don't feel bad or worry you derail the stream. Trust me, he loves that type of derail. Well, maybe I'll drop in and provide a link. I did set up an actual test account in Liquid Sky, so I can provide the details of that one. Yeah. It looks like you're trying to solicit contributions from chatters who are watching your stream. Yes. So it's, to me, this is a fun project. I like building it. It's at the point. You're being limited now. I don't allow, I don't provide any facility for adult language. um, he's been dealing with me for 3 years. He can't be worse than me. Yeah. So I was actually just looking at it before because I was actually adding the content, adding the title to YouTube, etc. I was looking at the message, and I said, I'm building an application. I don't have a large budget. The app has been developed pretty quickly. What I'm looking for is some initial ideas to see, basically to test the water. And I would be looking to continue a relationship. Like, I would like to consult on new screens and new layouts and stuff and get feedback. So it's consistent, right? Because it's great building an application, but if you have 5 different people with 5 different opinions on how a screen should be laid out, you're going to end up with a mess. So I'd be happy to help with designing the layout, initial pages, and style guide for your project management application. Let's discuss the project scope, timeline, and budget to ensure a good fit. I'm looking forward to reviewing your current application and collaborating with you. Please share the file. I've attached a couple of screenshots of the app in its current form. You can also log in if you wish. I provided a login. Currently, I'm not with my personal computer. Can you screen in a ping format? So I sent 4 PNGs. During this process, I'd like to ask a few questions. I'm unable to access the screenshots. Can you please share what specific features or functionalities you'd like me to prioritize in design? And it goes on. I think you can tell just from what I've read. Yeah. The dark mode toggle. This is because I switched over to Prime NG and I've never gone back and get that. Let's remove that for right this second because there is no real toggle. It works in some places, but not in others. App components. So we have layout, app, core, layout, planning. Yeah, because there's the actual pages are, yeah. See, app theme, app logout. These are, wrong one. There we go. Profile, etc. All these things are going to come later. And you can center 2 buttons at the top right to align them vertically with the heading. Yeah. 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 Thank you very much for the follow, by the way. I didn't see that. My apologies. Welcome in. So this is Liquid Sky, project management and planning tool. Yeah, there's all sorts of things. Again, my approach right now is try and make it usable, try and make it at least pleasant, but don't drive myself crazy with CSS. I hate it. I dislike this stuff with a passion. It bores me. And I have to be prepared to go down the rabbit hole. If I start that now, if I start aligning that, that's going to bug me with other things. I'm going to start changing other things. And it's the rabbit hole that I just don't, because I don't think I'm making positive impact all the time. But yeah, I get the whole align the buttons with the text because you can see at a glance that it's out of whack. Yeah. But yeah, it is a rabbit hole I'm not going down right this second. So what I want to do this stream, remove theme switcher. No. Hey, look, if you want to log into the app and provide feedback, you can, but yeah. But yeah. Yeah. Layout and stuff is to me, I get that the UI can drive the design, but I'm not a talent. I do not have talent on this side, right? Oh yeah, that drives me crazy. Yeah. But again, it's just a rabbit hole. It's like, oh, I've got to mess around with that, figure out what that is, do the right thing, test it in different browsers. You know, I've been there a lot, and you know, um, I develop I develop websites when you used to have to use different images for different corners of buttons to make them rounded, right? So it drives me crazy, and I don't find it entertaining. Um, but to me, the most important thing is getting the features in there that I do know. Um, um, Real time boxes, so you're not over asking as well. Yeah. Um, so you know, getting the features in there, um, identifying the pieces I want in there, because then when I do get access to someone who is going to give me some solid, okay, here's the work, this is the workflow you intend, here's where we should do it, lay it out, here's the where we should put the buttons, here's the how we should put this information, stack this here, put that there, move this around, make this grid do this, all those sorts of things are going to come. I know those are going to come because I know that I'm not perfect and I do not have an eye for the design, right? Using libraries and putting styles in place, okay, I can do that, but it's not my talent. So what I want to do right now is do a bit of research on onboarding, because again, if I'm asking people to log in and test this, if I'm saying, hey, you can log in and use this app right now, right? It will make absolutely zero sense to you. It does not follow the same flow as other apps. I do need to go through some of the apps, but I've not wanted to because I do not want to copy what they do necessarily. I do not want to, you know, jump into something from the moment I start with um, trying to use what other people do. Um, so I deliberately avoid, you know, not using uh, what we could perceive as a competition. That could be a good or a bad thing, you know, market research and all. Um, but I feel that I would potentially end up just cloning ideas, and I don't want to do that. So um, I want to make sure that this is easy for someone to come into, and I can guide them through it. So I want to go into a realm I've not gone into before. Can I introduce and actually probably should, before I start that, actually do that. Right? Can I introduce a guided tutorial, right? Like, let's get you started. Let's add an initiative. An initiative does this. A planning item does this. I had set up the whole task thing in GitHub, but it's not something I want to spend time on setting up. It may be counterproductive, but you just pick something to do that drives me most crazy at the moment. Um, yeah, I mean, that's solo dev, right? Um, I'm trying to be more rigid because of what I'm developing, but like this morning, right? Adding the permissions and stuff, that was all, oh, I could do that. I know I want to do that. I know I need to do that. Let's do it. Wasn't tasked or planned. That was ad hoc. But I knew the cost was low to the payoff. Doesn't excuse it, but but solo dev, you know, it's a different way of approaching it, right? It's a different thing. So if you are new to the stream, if you're interested in knowing more about the project overall, I'm happy to explain. I'm happy to go into details. It is a .NET project built using many technologies, but Angular front end right this second. And yeah, there's lots of pieces. Yeah, so this project is not aimed at solo development, right? It's aimed out the box at having I see Anna having a very large list of tasks and such, but my brain doesn't work like that. Yeah. Anna is also pure chaos as well. Like you can feel the speed her brain's moving at. The energy and the focus is impressive, but it's chaos. But that's what I mean. But look at the quality and the talent, right? Kind of statement, but that makes a stream. Yeah, yeah. Like for me, my process is more about the sharing than it is about the achievement on stream, and the code is there. I do the code. I'm happy to talk about the code, but if we talk about software or other things in general, I'm happy to do that if it's useful and helpful. What am I doing? I'm trying to think about what I'm doing at the same time. Sorry for the flashbang there. Downside to using DuckDuckGo, there's no plugins, which means I can't enable a dark mode, and apparently Stack Overflow's never bothered to deal with system. Liquid Sky. GitHub is gradually changing its styling. Things are getting more rounded and yeah. Anyway, let's do a pull request here. Compare and pull request. So this is just adding those features in. Added permissions. Updated endpoints to respect. Create pull request. Again, I'm just doing pull requests for the sake of myself right this second, just to make sure I'm following the flow. Liquid Sky client G. That's actually clear enough. I don't actually need to do that either. I'm doing this so that I have a reset point and I'm not doing a load of work in one branch. I counted my VIP badges. I'm 14 for 14 on mod versus VIP badges. Nice and even. Nice. So yeah, Liquid Sky is not aimed at helping you as a solo dev be productive, and that's why I was saying that yesterday, right? The problem I have with Liquid Sky is that even though I'm dogfooding the application, it's the developer create test. That's this one. It's actually very difficult to go through the workflow because solo dev does not structure the same way. Did that. These will automatically go back to their current state outside of the sprint. They'll need to be assigned back to a sprint when I complete the sprint. Actually, starting the sprint would have been a good idea. We started in April. But what I want to do is get this finished. We aim to finish it Saturday, May 24th. So the last release of the software was in April. My goal would be to get a release done this weekend, but I want to do the onboarding thing, right? So I want to tackle that one thing first. So it's a bit of research. How many days do you stream and how many days do you work on this? I stream Monday to Friday, 719, of which I do 3 days on Liquid Sky. It varies how much I work off stream. I would say on average, probably about 5 to 6 hours a week extra. So I'm totaling maybe 11 to 12 hours a week of dev on it. Some nights more than others. Like last night was a more productive night. I got like um, 3 or 4 hours of pretty solid tinkering and dev done. Um, um, but yeah, I might not get back around this till after the weekend. Yeah. You could work as someone else when you're not streaming to pretend you work as a team. Yeah, take on the different role. Oh, I'm the project manager now. Um, but yeah, it's yeah. I mean, I don't know how to measure the amount of time I put into this project. If I had to estimate, I'd probably go with, well, let's say I average about, let's say at the outside, I average about 15 hours a week of dev. Um, 60 hours a month. Um, so what? 720 hours a year. Thank you, Sally. I've probably put about 1,000 hours into Liquid Sky at this point, but based off that rough, you know, rough measurement. Um, that's a scary amount of money if I'm going off my salary. Um, but yeah, developing it solo is, I mean, you're developing things solo, and yeah, it's a lot of work. But yeah, like you said, to proper dog food it, like I said, the problem is that I can't be this person, right? I can't be the person that I want to help the most is the person I can't be. Um, because I don't know how to be. I know what I'm asking from them, but I don't know how to do. I've realized through developing this that I don't know how to do this part properly for me without falling into the exact trap that I'm trying to avoid. Because if you look at these are almost what we avoid, what we have in Jira, right? That would be a story. We'd do that as a story. Everything that would go against that. So I'm still breaking it up and allowing those tasks to be composed properly and handled quickly, which means you do get a dopamine hit. This is a phrase that Mojo's used a lot recently. Is like of success. Look, I've finished the task. That does help push you forward. But to do this properly, I really need to be liaising with UI UX and getting designs and getting things planned out properly. But that seems like a lot of time to spend when I've yet to validate the product properly. So it's kind of a, you know, chicken and egg, but I need to find the people that will benefit the most from this and have them testing it as well. So it is a challenge. So let's what am I looking up here? What is this called? Basically the whole gray out the screen, highlight an area. What is that actually referred to? Because what I want to do is when you log in, it says, "Oh, let's get you started. Let's go to initiatives." An initiative is represents a larger chunk of work, and it will, it shows. You know what I mean? Like the when it grays out the screen and highlights an area and gives you a little tutorial text. Um, Angular. Um, um, is it just onboarding? Onboarding libraries. Okay. Okay, it is onboarding libraries. Yeah. Product tours. Not every walkthrough works. You can create a product tour that might look okay to you, but makes no difference to user because it doesn't help them. Yeah, that's a material walkthrough. See what's in my eyes. Good morning, one line, by the way. Do you want to create me a login so I can take a look? You can send me the deets on Discord if so. On Liquid Sky, you can go to liquidsky.software and register if you want to. Maybe. Hello. How are you doing? I want to beat you to this one line. Just before I'm about to have a more coffee. Nice. Thank you very much. 6 years today. If you haven't followed maybe yet, maybe launch his app, Barely Fit, yesterday on Android. Is well worth checking out. Is a free app for health and fitness. I'm not going to go into this the sales blurb. However, I would recommend checking it out. And yeah, if you haven't attended maybe streams before, it's a great place to be. A lot of fun, but he also gets a lot done and has some really great conversations in there, and has some awesome community members as well. I know that several of you have been in there, but highly recommend checking out Barely Fit. I was using it to log my Cheerios this morning. Update your website this weekend, so I can just share that going forward. Nice. Well, we will. It's always worth to support. Okay, so what I'm looking to do, I did successfully log my Cheerios. I did realize that I used a quarter of my daily calorific intake on a bowl of cereal. At least the black coffee is only like 10 calories. I've got to get myself wound up into the whole, okay, it's not just about counting the calories, it's about everything else that comes with it. We've got to track the exercise and all that. Like, don't focus on the numbers, but also don't put too much cake in your mouth. Chandu, hello, how you doing? Thank you very much. Welcome back. So I'm looking to see if I can find Intro.js is the biggest JavaScript product tool plugin today with over 21,000 styles on GitHub, and frankly, it deserves the space. It provides you with highly responsive, customizable, and stable product tools and Angular tooltips that can be combined to create a simple yet effective. Okay. Angular UI tool, simple. You've seen the word simple. Is that Dutch? Out for delivery. Like that, see that? Yep. Nice. The phone app still lacks features. So, okay. So, conclusion. One of these 6 libraries should be more than enough to help you set up a product so that it can show you users around. Let's go with the biggest one on the assumption that it might have the best support, right? Intro.js. Onboarding. We need to make an enterprise architect simulator. It would have so many inside jokes. How you doing? User onboarding. Oh, come on. Free for open source, personal, and non-commercial sites. Well, it's not commercial yet. 5 hours the final boss. Is that a reasonable jump? It's not commercial yet. That's fine, right? Yeah. Humbling Geek, welcome in. Hello, how are you doing? People pay for this. People do pay for this, yes. Do you have a like? I'm sure that out of these options, there's a free option, but let's intro.js being the biggest. I'm going to assume it has the most support, so we'll start there and go backwards, right? Bamo, welcome in. Hello. Thank you very much. So, for those new to the stream, what I'm currently working on is Project Liquid Sky, as it is labeled. Liquid Sky is a project management and planning application that I've been building for a while now, since October 2023. It is in. I develop on this most days of the week, Tuesdays through Thursdays, and I. It is not open source, but I stream the development of it to share the process of building a larger application. I'm not a new dev, I'm an experienced developer, so I share that experience. I'm just cleaning up some branches to make sure I don't end up with a load of fluff on the machine that I regret. And there we go. So Sally, hello. So what I'm doing right now is I'm trying to figure out the onboarding process, because again, the workflow through Liquid Sky is not, it is at the point where it is merge commits were discarded. Awesome. We'll worry about that later when I'm missing some code. It is what it is. So I'm at the point where Liquid Sky is big enough that it's not actually very obvious what you have to do to get things flowing. It doesn't follow a traditional Jira process of go in, create your team, create your board, organize your projects, etc. Then go in and add planning items or stories. Sorry. So happy I did this. Of all the things I've done recently, that's the thing I'm most proud of. Like a loading spinner to tell you something's happening. And the problem is, if it gets stuck, it's just gonna sit there spinning, right? There you go. See, it's loading. That's, it's annoying to me that is the most important thing I've done. Of like, I don't know what I removed. I forgot to push that commit. That's the. Was it that one? No. Whatever. It is what it is. So what I want to do is get you onboarding. So when you join the application, right, you're brought into the planning items page. So from login, let's go through it from login. Sign in. Sign in. I've picked a password there that I can type, but I know when I've hit the wrong keys. So you're entered into the screen. Right now, this does not show actual information. I probably should put a task in to make this actually show real information and show upcoming items to try and make this more useful. But you brought into this screen. The first thing you're going to do is go to your users and set up your users, teams, etc. Projects. These are to help you organize the work. You then go to planning items and you can add a planning item, right? And a planning item consists of a title and a goal. Like, so this is just a title that's going to get displayed here. And what is the goal of this planning item? What is success for this? Who is it assigned to? This is the product manager that it's assigned to, not the developer. And what projects does it touch, right? What is it? However you organize your projects is up to you. Review date. When do you want to see this planning item come back into view, right? If you don't need to do this, but you're putting a placeholder or something in there, you might want to push this out 3 months so it sits at the end of the list, right? You're kind of prioritizing your own list of work. And then does it belong under initiatives? So initiatives are groupings of planning items, long running processes. It could be an entire quarter's worth of work. It could be a year's worth of work. Like if it's a general cleanup initiative, we need to remove this from this screen or whatever. That initiative is a grouping. And then does this depend upon other things? Other planning items. You have to do allow estimation of tasks before this is done, etc. I agree, dog. When you go into a planning item, so now you've created your planning item, its initial status is preparing, right? You're getting the information ready. So you're adding requirements. What does it look like to complete this thing? What do you expect is the outcome of this planning item? Do you expect a new screen? Do you expect new buttons? Do you expect new text? Do you expect that you can click a button and a wizard pops out the computer, right? What do you want to do? What are you trying to get to? And this is all from a product perspective. No technical details, no focus on the technology, just focus on what are you expecting. You can attach screenshots, documents, etc., and add comments. Long-term goal, being able to add meetings in there so that you can actually track conversations about this thing. We met on Tuesday, and here's the outcome. Like especially with AI transcription being what it is, you could attach the notes, and then anybody who's involved in this can actually see what was talked about. Once you've added a requirement and you're happy that the requirements that you've outlined lay out, achieve your goal, you'll move this to ready for planning. And the concept is now, right now, is you add tasks. So the development team comes along and says, okay, here's how we're going to achieve this requirement specifically. What do we need? How do we do it? Etc. For every requirement. They go off then and estimate that, right? If they can't estimate it from here, they go off and estimate it. They assign it to a team. So a development team is understanding this. So if a requirement needs multiple teams to work on it, this all brings it together. That's the concept. So this is the sort of stuff I want to explain. How do I show you through that and onboard you into the application? Because it's not obvious. It's not a normal workflow. And there's lots there. So I thought that what I'd try and do is get some of that in. And if we can start to get the inkling of that into the application, then we would, oh, maybe that was there. Let's see. Sorry for the flashbang. Nope, I forgot it. I'm so annoyed by that there is no permission dialog for autoplay with sound in the browser. No permission dialog for autoplay with sound. It just does it. So if you are interested in this application, if you want to ask more questions, if you want to talk about tech in general, you have any questions, you're more than welcome to ask. The stream is open to discussion as much as it is to me developing and waffling on about stuff. So yeah, feel free. So let's go through this. Let's go through intro.js. Just like you can request permissions for geolocation and such. Gotcha. So download source from yarn add intro JS, npm intro JS, quick start. You know what this is missing? A tour. Examples. Does this, yeah, it does do a guided thing, right? To hello world, run example, blah, blah, blah. Not exactly a stunning example, blah, 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 blah. I would rather have the website mine cryptocurrency in my browser than to use my speakers. Making out that you have autoplay with the way to get it is convoluted. Yeah, I suppose the whole like it taking over thing is a challenge. Um, okay, so that looks terrible, by the way. I don't know about you, but I don't like the look of that at all. Done. Okay. Let's have a look at some of the other options, eh? Uh, NGX UI. Looks kind of rough. Dark text white, yes. When your entire business is doing the tour, though, that's not a good sign. Angular Copilot doesn't have the most styles in GitHub like Android. It doesn't offer overlay elements for your onboarding, nor does it offer responsiveness of Shepherd. It offers something that's different, much different than the libraries that go with simply somewhat funky. So here's the thing. Okay, I have opinions on how software should work, right? I think that if it is a software that everybody should use, everybody gets to use, your focus should be on usability and obvious features, right? If it's an application that's an expert application, you do need some level of training to use it. It is not as necessary to make it obvious. It's necessary to focus on the speed of which you can achieve the things you need to achieve. That's my opinion. I don't know whether that aligns with anything or disagrees with anything, but that's my opinion. The reason being that an expert system, you shouldn't be expected to just drop in and use. It is necessarily complicated because it's doing something that is in a niche or in an area. So I don't think you should necessarily be expected to just be out of the box, able to just use the application. I mean, said I dislike guided tutorials because they drive you crazy because I'm an explore sort of person. I like to explore, but not everyone likes that. So giving people the option of going and onboarding is something I want to do because it helps explain some of the ideas that, present the ideas that I have. And again, I've been developing this. I'm the worst person in the world to just say, yeah, go use this because it makes sense to me. Everything makes sense to me. No, thank you very much. Welcome in. How you doing? So I've got to try and find that happy medium, right? So I'm not looking to make a Angular Shepherd looks poor. I'm not looking to make something that drives you crazy and you can't get rid of. But yeah. Material Walkthrough Library holds the first spot on this list, even though it's not as popular as some other libraries, because the developers have done a great job showcasing their work in a demo, letting you try their plugin. Angular BDC. Let's start. Step 1, close this pop-up to display the next. Close this pop-up. This is the last pop-up. Next. Next. Got it. Type hello. Now try to change the text again to make the pop-up reappear. Type a number. Oh, 5. Set task. This is more like what I want, right? However, I want to be given the option to stop it if you feel you've got it. You can just ask up front if they would like a tour and some tips here and there. Yeah. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Welcome. To make life easier, we'd like to show you a short tutorial. Take a look at the task overview to the bottom right of the page. Oh, this might be an idea. Now task 1 is marked checked. Try closing the task overview. The walkthrough is now paused. You can always get back to the guide. We use a product at work for HR stuff. And every time I logged in, it's like, do you want to do the tutorial? I'm like, no, skip tutorial. I know where I'm going. And every single time, to the point where I was like, okay, show me the tutorial. And it was 5 like steps where it navigated me to screens. I'm like, yes, I was using these screens. Thank you. I just wanted the option to tell you to get lost. Yeah. Programmatically read and write the state of each task. In this example, read the complete tasks. Debugging the walkthrough task. You can easily debug the state of the walkthrough task with Chrome. Just right click, inspect, application, local storage. Then you should see the BDC walkthrough. Oh, now I can. Okay. Yeah. Click the button. Task 3, task 4. Finished. There we go. Yeah. How do I feel about this one? This one's kind of nice. I like the options. Sometimes the flow of existing walkthrough needs to be changed while some of the users already have an in progress state. In this case, you might need to change the existing user state. Yeah. I just wipe it out. I think you're right. If we offer this on every page, that might be an idea. And then just put a tooltip or something the first time you go in. What do we think? Let's try. So I know what I'm going to do today. I'm going to implement sharing the page. So okay. Oh no. I don't want to install Angular material. I've got a whole lot of stuff in there. Having material in there is not going to be healthy. One of my minuses in my app, always having to open a browser version to copy the URL. Hmm. Let's go to Shepherd.js. Let's have a look at that. Did I really just click on Shepherd.js and then get navigated to a page that says top 5 alternatives to Shepherd.js? Oh. Oh no, I don't want to see Shepherd.js anyway because that looks horrendous. I don't like the big chunky layout. NGX UI tour. Product tour library for Angular 9 apps. I think I'm probably not on the right page here. Let's go look at something else. Chameleon.io. How I middle click. There you go. Angular 2. Angular intro.js. Angular Shepherd. Angular UI tour. Yeah, I don't like the idea of tons of dependencies. Angular material out. Angular popper. Requires JavaScript skills. I'm out of the running for that one. Angular Joyride. That sounds hilarious. No native mobile gestures, no built-in A/B testing. Material, Angular Copilot. CSS libraries is one thing. Entire UI libraries, though. What's this? What I want to do is create a walkthrough. So if I can get that done relatively quickly, I want to create a walkthrough and then put this next version live with the newest round of features. Because I realize that it's actually kind of not very obvious what it does. It looks like intro.js might be the best option. And Jet's Copilot. So no. Don't say things like installing editor. Video recording private YouTube video doing the walkthrough. No, I don't want to do that. It's too hard to do that and think through. At least going through the flow button by button and having someone do it at their own pace. They don't have to listen. I'm interested in the version that is that you can disable like quickly if you don't want to do it. They seem to introduce styles and stuff, which is yeah. So my thought was basically you log into the application and you are, you are immediately presented to this page. This doesn't mean anything right now, but then as I see the options, maybe the idea of page having the question mark icon to say, hey, do you want some help with this is a good path. So as always, if anybody in chat has any experience with doing this, if anybody has any opinions on doing this, please feel free. Again, I'm not dismissing the idea of the video, but the video is not necessarily I'd have to edit the video, which I do not have a good track record with. And B, I'd have to really think about that script. At least if I'm in code, I can change that quickly. Is active with numbers. I think for this sort of app, there's definitely a tutorials video playlist that is useful, right? I'm not debating that those are useful things because some people like watching a video and going off and doing it, but having the walkthrough allows me to be easier to promote, you know. Going trying the app. Yeah. Write the script. Yeah. Long track record of doing that well as well. But yeah, we'll give it a go. However, having the option for in chat. Hello again. My name is. That is an odd way to. If that's not a bot, EJ. What? Please validate you are not a bot. That is not a way. Oh, ads tingling. Okay. So product tours. Let's try and bring this back. Angular Joyride. That just sounds like a hilarious name. I'm seeing a worrying pattern that there's not a lot of these that have made it past the early Angular phases. Angular 2, that was a long time ago, right? Yeah. Angular 2 is getting on to 10 years now. So I'm asking if you know any programs for PC to play on a virtual keyboard musically, or if there are such tools, can you suggest something to me? Virtual keyboards in musical. I'm not sure how we got to how you believe that this is anyway musical stream. I am not a musician. I do not use that sort of stuff. I know there are tools like Fruity Loop Studio that do allow you to play a piano inside of them to record music, etc. I know of that tool, but I'm not the best equipped to give you more direction than that. So Angular Joyride is a Angular 2 library, so that's definitely out. Might be as much as I don't want to do it, I might end up with the most popular one because it might be the only one that's survived long enough. Angular Popper, built on top of Popper.js, which is a lightweight tooltip and pop-up library. That might be. There you go. Angular 2. Last updated 6 years ago. Nope. I know that these libraries are probably not going to have changed massively, but the UI, all those things that it's going to need is going to be outdated. And if it pulls in dependencies, that's like, again, Angular Material. I've got PrimeNG and I've got Tailwind installed. I do not want to install Angular Material. There's something like that, but not for creating music. Only other music tools where to look for such things on the net with keyboards related powerful. This is reading like a keyword list. For playing on PC. I'm not sure. I'd love to help. I'm not trying to be unhelpful, but in the same way, I can't. Not sure what you're trying to after. And the purpose of this stream is not in any way about keyboards. So yeah. There are so you're not looking to create music, but you're looking for a virtual keyboard, as in screen keyboard or music. Like that. The on-screen keyboard in Windows 11. Anyway, I'm going to move on because I cannot divert there. I've already procrastinated enough this stream. So it looks like Intro.js might just be my best option. It looks like it's the smallest, It looks like it's the most updated. It looks like it's going to be the better option all around. So let's go and try intro.js. Install, npm install intro.js. So we just go to our package.json. Is that dev dependency? No. Drives me crazy these aren't. Intro.js. Is it really intro.js? Latest. Setup. Intro.js consists of JavaScript and CSS files that need to be linked externally in the HTML page. Okay. Thank you, online. Okay, hold on. Intro.js consists of JavaScript and CSS files that need to be linked externally in the HTML page. The JS file should be linked before closing the body tag. The CSS file needs to be linked in the head of the page. That's an uncommon thing. Like I can obviously figure that out, but I guess I'm so used to seeing tutorials that give me, by the way, here's the thing you wanna include, that I'm like, okay. I've become too lazy. However, that's not quite as simple, is it, with Angular? Because I probably want to do it here. There you go. It knew what I wanted. Go on. Do it again, smarty pants. No? There you go. Okay. Everything's up and running. Did I really miss? I really wish this would give me navigation to the actual thing. Planning, layout. Also, I did exclude it. Yeah, there's definitely some tooling things that I could definitely benefit from in here. This is the problem. Angular has an issue with doing that. It has an issue with building when you've got references to things that are no longer actually used. Requires directive is not used within template teams component. So that's because, again, that is like a code behind or a navigation option there would be good. Instead, I have to do this and then go to here, do that. All right. So new branch, Spike, intro, JS, tutorials. So Rambling Geek on the offer of the videos. Yeah, absolutely. The going through this process is probably going to help me build that out. So we'll definitely, if you're interested in doing that, that would be definitely helpful. Also, having someone else do that sort of stuff is, again, different insights as you go through. Like, that don't make sense. Why does this work? So yeah. Okay, so we should have intro.js included. In theory, we can go and quick start. Add Tor HTML attributes. Data intro. then call this JavaScript function. Optionally pass one parameter to intro.js function to limit the presentation section. Intro.js Angular. Oh, did I do it wrong? Angular intro.js. So we don't have to do the same thing. Okay. Let's revert all that. Roll back. Oh, I just reverted the changes that should have just. Okay. Let's do this again. Let's let that build. So I'm just trying to move this on. I'm trying to remove unused imports. Command push. Anyway, and push. That's my mistake. This is like, oh, you've got warnings. Are you sure? I always fall for it. So let's go to here, intro.js. Check out. I have a lyric line that says incomprehensible. It's not butcher. Check out. Okay. Did I just rebase that onto that? Never mind. It is what it is. Contest, I'm playing music on my TV with my own app. Nice. Nice. Anyway, that doesn't really matter. Whatever. Development. Merge development into Spike. That's fine. That'll fix those problems for me. Okay, so let's go back to Angular, to package.json, and let's introduce Angular intro.js. And install. So, I know that this isn't the most productive stream, but what I was going to do today, or what I wanted to do, is the next step for Liquid Sky is to get the task planning phase done. So it's basically removing these tasks from here, moving them into a screen that when we move something to ready for planning, which for right now will be a trigger, it becomes available somewhere else, right? So it becomes available near the screen based upon your team and your settings. But I did set a goal of having the next release out by the end of May. So we've missed on one item, potentially, right? That was something I wanted to get done by this next release. But I do want to get a release out by the end of May which means that it's a month between releases, right? So we are moving the project forward. There's more features, there's more behaviors. Coming in this version, we have the teams, we have the organization, we have the filtering on the planning, on the tasks. So it becomes a more useful application bit by bit. And I want to increase that cadence so that basically, even as a solo dev working um, um, part-time and part-time, right? I'm not dedicating all my personal time to this project. Um, I'm still delivering functionality on top of functionality. And if people are interested in testing it and using it, or anybody actually starts using it, I can support that and move the project forward. So I do want to I want to practice that cadence basically. I don't want to just release when I feel like it. I want to practice what it's like to deploy it, what the risks are, what the challenges are, while there's no one actually depending upon it. So yeah, and learn some of those lessons, right? Um, but I didn't want to make the stream about deploying, and I did want to do this. So we've added that in. What next? How to use. As a service, you should create a scope. So hold on, let's go here again. Sorry for the widescreen. I do apologize. Not required, but both works well together. Picking a method name, you can invoke the intro from elsewhere by calling call me. You can also specify a number using call me 3 to also start. Start step 3, demo. So start controller. Weren't controllers in Angular JS? Yeah. Angular JS. I'm an idiot. I'm a dipstick. It's not Angular. Why are these libraries all so out of date? I don't have an Angular JS project. Why can't I read? Why are they all so old? I don't want to pull in libraries that are going to create problems. I don't want to pull entire UI libraries in because it's going to hurt. Like, why is this difficult? So what this tells me is there's not many Angular developers that come along to use intro.js, right? Um, React. Now, wouldn't being that it's React, again, I'm not sure about React, but wouldn't things like Next.js and other libraries, Vue, etc., still require slight differences? So that tells me other developers aren't working in those things. Yeah, but there's no um, intro project is called the like Hello World, but I don't know. Last time I checked, the Hello World's 500 meg download. What? Ouch. Yeah. And it's Panda. Hello. How are you doing? Been a while. And Radio Patrick. Hello. How's things? So these are outdated. I'm doing good. How are you? I'm not reading that out. Engineer Hello World app. Wow, so the out of the box hello is woof. I don't know about that. I go in Canny stream and I'm like the old man in there. So um so basically what I'm learning is onboarding libraries are kind of old. Angular 19 onboarding libraries. Onboarding tour. Again, Angular. I love that white flashing, and that's like great. um, not wanting to add libs that cause problems, eh? Don't add Angular then. Okay, you've seen enough of this stream, right? To know that even with Angular, this is the best I can do on the client side. Can you imagine me writing pure HTML, CSS, and JavaScript? I've at least got some color left in my hair right this second. That would not be a good experience all round, and I would definitely be removing the keep the language out limitation on the stream because I would be swearing. No, we do not need to see me go back to hard mode. All of these are being updated. Well, a lot of these have been updated within the last year. Just use HTML component. Just parrot what I read on Mastodon. Oh dear. I think I know you well enough by now to know the sarcasm as well. In my opinion, Angular is primarily used in enterprise, and enterprises are resistant to change. It makes updating support libraries difficult. I mean, I've seen plenty of React and other libraries that are used in enterprise that are, way behind for the exact same reasons. But what I'm worried about is the number of these UI to a library for Angular 19 Tiger UI. The problem is you put with Tiger UI. I'm not pulling in. That is not good. Tegator is a fork of Isaac Mann's NGX tour. The project had to be forked since the original is no longer maintained. Is Tegator popular? This is a 4 weekly downloads. Yeah, it's flying off the shelf. It's not criticize. I'm not, just to be clear, I'm not criticizing the developer that's gone through the effort, developer or that have gone through the effort of doing this. Like that's respectable to try and put something out there. I'm not criticizing that, but I don't even know what Tiger UI is. Powerful set of open source components for Angular browse components. Yeah, I can't in all seriousness go into building an entire new UI to fit my touring, can I? So for those that have just joined, what I'm looking for onboarding libraries. So Liquid Sky is there, right? And I'm going to update it this weekend to the latest version with all the new filters and stuff like that, right? I want to get it out there, and I want to encourage people as you come into the stream. If you are interested in trying it to see what I've been doing, you want to play with this, that's fine. If you do use it, I do ask that you do log into the Discord and provide some level of feedback, whether you liked it, whether you don't like it. Like, don't just go in there to play. That I really am trying to do something helpful here, but in the same, it also contains a lot of knowledge from my perspective, a lot of perspective. So I want to make sure that I'm trying to share that and an onboarding process would be the best way. When you log in, it says, hey, you know, would you like a tutorial? And you can get walked through. Oh, here's an initiative, here's a planning item, here's a requirement, here's a task, here's what you do, here's how you move it, etc. Yeah. I'm trying to get our devs to update their Angular dependencies. Huge pain. One of the reasons that they love breaking APIs between major releases, which they're allowed to, but it makes it pain to upgrade. It could be worse though. It could be Scala. So Angular 17 to Angular 19. So, okay, as someone who has come from Angular JS, obviously kind of disappointed that I couldn't go to Angular 2 from Angular JS. That cost me. I've updated to multiple Angular versions. I've jumped single versions. I've jumped multi versions. This last update was from Angular 17 to Angular 19. So much stuff broke. I had to import the newest library of PrimeNG. It changed the way that the layout worked on the page. It changed an awful lot because PrimeNG also chose to change the way they did some things at the same time. So the switch to focus from modules to standalone components, now that being default, meant there's a whole load of missing parameters. So it is a challenge. That being said, it did only take me a day to get Liquid Sky there, but this doesn't have a lot of functionality right now, does it? Yeah. So I like Scala, but the Scala community don't seem to care about compatibility. So there would be some argument to be had about, moving things forward. If you want to move things forward, then you've got to be willing to break things. I'm not condoning it, but it is something that you have to consider. Unpopular package. Okay. Yeah, I'm not putting jQuery into a library. Oh, 10 years ago. Some people in the .NET Discord argue they should break APIs more often. I think be careful what you wish for. Yeah, I suppose I would be upset if they changed the behavior. I mean, changing the behavior, changing the API. I think a lot of us by now should be understanding what it looks like to test an upgrade to a platform, and I think it should be done frequently. Someone tried to make a V2 of intro.js. Awesome. Basically, what I'm learning here is there's not actually a good tool. Yeah, runtime failures are the worst, right? The ones that you don't catch until users hit them is the scary. I mean, onboarder React. Yeah, this search is not doing me any good. Angular onboarding. What was the other phrase that one line used earlier on? Guided tutorials. Let's try and guided tutorial library. Let's see if it changes the no onboarding. Um, I don't want to. I know. We asked Claude for some CSS help yesterday with that loading spinner. It was far quicker than trying to figure out how to center a div in the center of the page. Um, um, what is the best option? Now, I will say that yesterday I was asking Claude stuff and it was giving me older Angular content, like much older Angular content. It was not helpful. It was giving me like several versions out of date. Now I know Angular updates twice a year. I know that I've got Angular 20 on the horizon. I will update to that. I'll do that on stream to go through that exact process. Hopefully, I'll have to wait like a week after until Prime and G updates, or several weeks afterwards. But yeah, for introducing a guided walkthrough or tutorial into my application, my Angular client application. I dislike you. That's not even. No. This is probably your best bet. um. NG Tour. Yeah, but NG Tour of Heroes, that's not a guided tutorial thing. That's an actual tutorial, isn't it? And as Exocamil pointed out the other day, Tour of Heroes hasn't been updated in several versions of Angular, and it's actually not on the new site. You could develop a custom solution with CDK overlay. Yeah, a custom solution, that's going to help me very much. Okay, so let's just. I mean, I know that I'm running out of time. I know that I do realize I've wasted a lot of time this stream, but oh, please tell me I didn't commit that in there before. I did. No, I didn't. Sorry. New branch, spike, intro, yes, tutorial. Let's see if we can get something showing before we end the stream, eh? That would be nice. So how about you? Anybody that wants to, that is paying attention, how do you feel about tutorials? What do you like? What don't you like? Do you like the guided style? Do you like the ability to turn them off? Do you just like figuring out an app on the fly? What is your preference? Going through the effort, yeah, different people. That's what I'm saying. Like, what is? I'm just trying to gauge, your personal opinions. Oh yeah, I ordered that. Huh. Okay. Personally, for me, it depends on what I'm trying to do or what the product is. You feel you could figure out Liquid Sky based upon just what you've seen? You know, something like this, I'd probably want really solid documentation and videos. Guided tour would get annoying. Don't like them when they're defaulted on. Yep. I'd rather a help button that helps me with the thing on the current page. That makes sense. Package JSON. So it's intro.js, right? Yeah. We're not installing a beta product on this side of things. Even if this is an experiment, I'm still not doing it. I'd rather have a help button. Okay. Well, that makes sense. So let's experiment a little bit. Let's see if we can get something showing before the end of the stream. Let's go to the dashboard. It's the most planning layout. Oh no, app. App features planning dashboard. Let's try and put something in this one. Also, we need to go back to the Angular JSON and add the styles back in. Node. There you go. No. There you go. That's going to be node modules, though. Modules. I like the option of launching a guided tutorial for a given workflow. I prefer seeing it as a launch point in a consistent place on the screen, like the help button Stan mentioned. Yeah. So what I'm thinking, and again, I'm trying to get the feedback. I think a video tutorial, to maybe's point, is wise, and I think Rambling Geeks offer is definitely one I will take up. I've got to write the script. Rambling Geeks very good at making videos. If you haven't seen, he has a YouTube channel. He does some he does random stuff here and there, but he's a tinkerer and does produce some good content that I highly recommend. He's not gonna like me for that because he's gonna now feel that he's got pressure to make videos. However, videos are something that would be definitely useful. I do think this is an expert system, and I think it does need some guidance as to how to use it properly and get the most out of it. My plan, this isn't a joke, is to do less than 60-second fast-paced shouting videos on how to use different features. Okay. Not sure I've seen that style, but yeah. Yeah, not the vibe. Yeah. But I know, I think short videos like, hey, what does this do? Like combining the two, I keep saying the word like, and it's driving me crazy. Um, yeah, you can share. Um, Combining the two, maybe it's a guided tutorial. Maybe we put a button up here that's like question mark, and you click it and it says, would you like some further info? Or there's a video available for this page, and we'll link out to that page. I have no sound on streams. Yeah, you might as well just put okay. You might as well just put a loading spinner over my head. Um, that completely turned my brain off. Um, um, yeah, there's a reason I don't watch videos at 2 speed either. Um, yeah, I get it though. I get the yeah, but that completely broke my brain. Yeah, different people. I get it. Um, yeah. But the funny thing is, I actually find Barely Fit very, for the most part so far, very obvious to navigate. Is you spent a lot of time on that, and there's a lot of stuff to do in there, but it's obvious what I'm doing for the most part. There's some areas that I think I want to go back and like keep trying and make sure that it's just not me not seeing the point. But yeah, I think for the most part you've made an app that flows, but it is an app for everyone, right? Um, yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, it's funny. I've got to the point where I don't actually consider anything I'm saying as absolute. I get that, and because of one line's cut off of, if I say everyone or all the time, it's like, well, not not no absolutes. So I have a little voice. Um, yes, I think that is true. And that's why I'm asking. That's why I'm polling a little bit. Is I'd like to understand how different people approach this. What are their opinions? What's frustrating? What's not? Um, have you ever tried searching for an answer to something technical and it's only videos. That stuff annoys me. Um, yes, yeah, all the time. I don't like videos all the time. Um, the worst part is when the only videos I find, um, 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 I wouldn't say no absolutes. um, the worst ones are the ones that I find that are the most informative, but are delivered in the least interesting way, which is why I don't want to make a video for this, because I don't think I can. I can talk. I'm happy to talk, but I can't. If I'm doing this, I don't think I can put that much energy or or whatever into it. So I think it's just gonna be like, now click here, go here, do this. This will do this. Right? I don't want to do that, and I've watched far too many videos that do that. So yeah, um, but I can definitely see the appeal of the video. My brain just couldn't process also. It literally just. I can't talk at the same time. We're not going to get this done. Um, so what the Claude is recommending is I do intro.js. So import intro.js. I have to do this everywhere. Import intro.js from intro.js. Then implements on init after view init. I learned the other day, by the way, that it doesn't matter whether I implement on init. If I make an ng on init method, it's actually getting called, which was quite fascinating to see. You don't actually have to do this. They'll do it. I'm doing a combination of these videos and normal documentation with little animated previews in that pop-up. Nice. Nice. After view init, intro.js dot set options. So what does this do? Steps. Whoa, 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 whoa. Calm down there. Steps. No. You just made all that up. Can I do this for everything? There's my use of AI. Holy. It just did my. I mean, that doesn't exist. I mean, it's making stuff up there, but I can do enough processing on that to figure that out. So what I'm thinking is put a. So hold on. What does this return? This options. Set options returns intro.js. So if we have we have intro is an intro.js. It is an intro.js. Intro is intro.js. And that is going to be that. Then we do this.intro equals that. And then we put a button in here. If a click equals start tutorial help. Actually, let's not do it that way. Let's not overcomplicate that first. Let's see what start does by default. Right. Let's remove that. And let's just comment out that. What I was thinking is I can turn on or off the control, but let's see what that does. Yeah, it's fine. Go back to planning. Oh, yeah, that don't work very well, does it? Do you have to put it somewhere? Doesn't tell me I have to put any elements in the page. Oh, that would have been good. Basically, what it did is it just moved me down there. That would have been cool. Because what I was thinking there is maybe it allows me to kind of, when I click on this, it does the highlight, and I can just put little hints next to it and then use that to tell you more about the thing. And that's kind of in line, right? But then maybe we could do a guided tutorial that'd work better. Planning dashboard intro and summary metrics both exist, though. That's the point. Summary metrics. So, well, that'd be cool. Okay. Well, it is what it is. We have some progress. I'm probably not going to get that in this next version. I probably will focus more on writing a script to walk through this. I think individual to your plan there, maybe more. This is your dashboard. This is your planning items. This is, record videos of each of those, and maybe just write those out as scripts and then see if we can get them done. But anyway, that is going to be me today. Tomorrow is developers.stream. It's developers.stream day, and we have some changes to make there, obviously, with the whole search. I want to get that kind of finished up a little bit and then talk about next steps there. I'd like to not, well, I think we'll talk about the design and the layout and maybe get some cleanup of that and start to make it look like a real app. And maybe I can figure out how to deploy that. So yeah. Yes, unfortunately, these full-time jobs, they demand things. So, but as always, I'll be lurking around Twitch. So yeah, back tomorrow for developers.stream. Don't forget, today is Thursday. One line streams on Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, and streams his work development, which is always fascinating to watch. I highly recommend checking out One Line. Just another fantastic part of this entire community of devs on Twitch. I think we are honored to have such a great community available to us. But anyway, okay, we're gonna go raid someone we don't get to raid normally. We're gonna go raid Marcus Voice Coder. The stream is in the title, so please feel free to say hello there. Marcus is currently playing with secret agents in VS Code. So some fascinating stuff there. So thank you for joining me. Take care. Have a great rest of your day. Duke stuff. Thank you very much for those bits. I appreciate you. And I will be back tomorrow. Take care all. Thank you. The end. Switch.